Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Stretch Cords. Swim Tips from the Stairwell is the series. Tonight it's Wednesday, so that means we are on to some general strength and prehab. And that's a nice word that was reinforced from my colleague, my good friend Dan Smith's physio, ex-swimmer, and he liked that word prehab, keeping the shoulders strong. So we're going to just mix up some front crawl with some basic exercises that you should be very, very familiar with. And they are in the dryland document that went out. So if anything's not clear, you can revisit, have a look at that. Or if you are watching this later on YouTube, by all means, ping me an email, dan@swimfortry.com, and you can get that. Okay, so we're going to bounce between 3 minutes of full stroke front crawl on the long cords and a minute of drill dryland prehab exercise, okay, that's going to keep the shoulders nice and healthy. Nothing too aggressive. Friday will be the big fitness block. That's coming up in a couple of days. Look out for that one. Email me for the invite on Zoom and you'd be more than welcome to join us. So here we go. 3 minutes, please. 3 minutes. 3 minutes on the long cords. There's our first part one of tonight's entertainment. So if you've been following along, we are using our cords in a vertical hanging position. Again, I've got dark trousers on, so you probably can't see too well that the hips are switching from side to side, and that's the basic fundamental. And it was good to talk to Dan, my physio friend. He's an ex-swimmer, and he actually coaches swimming now with his children's swim club. And regardless of whether you are recovering with a straight arm over the top or with a high elbow, if you don't get that rotation in across this axis, if you don't sort of switch from side to side, you're going to impinge the shoulder, you're going to travel low and wide, you're going to throw the stroke out. And, you know, it's a lot of effort to repair a damaged shoulder. You need to look after them. I mean, it's hard enough keeping them healthy just because of the amount of movements we go through, just because of the amount of repetition there is over and over again. So keep them healthy. Do your best to perfect your technique. Keep them strong. Incorporate a healthy strength and conditioning program a couple of times a week. This sort of thing, and I'm happy to email you the sessions, will do part of that, okay? You're working on your technique, which at the moment obviously isn't going to translate into pool swimming until we're out of lockdown, but at some point it will. So good technique, the arms are traveling in the right position, you're learning to switch from side to side, the cords are hanging vertically, so we are able to get the hips involved, okay? If you're pivoted at the waist and your upper body is horizontal, because your cords are horizontal, obviously it's a lot harder to get the hips engaged. And it's just a lot harder to perform these movements for as long as we would like, for us to get a pretty healthy warm-up done. Okay, now if you've looked at the dryland exercises from the document, there's a series, nice simple series, sort of the Y's, the T's, and finish with the I's. We're going to work on the Y's and the T's and a couple of other things which are really effective. You'll see me doing these on poolside when I'm coaching. I'll just take my my little resistance band with me. You can do these with your tins of beans tonight. If you can set up your a little resistance band in some similar fashion, you'll really get a lot more out of them. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I'm doing them. Make some modifications and adaptations if you need. In 3, 2, 1, here we go. So the first movement is a Y. Literally, just sort of put the hands out and then just squeeze the shoulder blades together. Whether you've got your light dumbbells, like so, really light, nothing too aggressive, and you're just taking the arms backward slightly. Try not to let any momentum come into this. You don't want to be sort of throwing the hips around and the upper body wobbling. You're just squeezing the shoulder blades together. Nice and light, nice and gentle. Okay, laying down on the floor, you'd add gravity into this and it would give them another dimension and make this a little bit harder. Okay, so that's another way. Or we can add the tension this way. I've got my cords at an elevated position. Okay, I've created my Y here. and I'm just pulling away. Let me just drop down so you can see. Well, that's not the best position. So I'm pulling in a Y like so. Okay, there we go. In 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Let's come back into our full stroke front crawl, please. Full stroke front crawl. There's our next 3 minutes. So basically, we've got 4 exercises, which means we've got 4 lots of 3 minutes on the cords, plus those minutes. That should add up to 16 minutes. We'll take a little breather. We'll have a recovery. And then we'll get going for round 2. 32-minute plus a little bit of the recovery. There's our main set. If you want to carry on and add a 3rd round, that would be tremendous, but that's entirely up to you. Zoom only gives us 40 minutes and likes to kick us off promptly. So I'm factoring these in all around the 32 to 35-minute mark after a bit of a warm-up. Okay, so remember, shoulder switching from side to side. Brush the chin, come through, finish that rotation, stretch through before you set the next catch position, pivot with the elbow, turn, point. I mean, I'm a bit lazy because I've got this sort of grip position rather than a paddle. I should be opening the hands, and it's fingertips to elbow. There's that position. I'm trying to bring that into horizontal by the time it reaches the eyes so it can just flow through, and then it's the palm plus the forearm that does all the work, sending the water down towards the feet. Apologies if you joined us on Monday. We were a little abbreviated. I don't know whether it was Zoom or whether it was Virgin Active, who we use for internet here. But we only got 1 round in. And I did upload it. If you missed it, by all means join in and get it done in your own time. It was a lot more techniques, more swim drills. And that's always good early in the week, just to refine things, and then we build up the tension, add a little bit more work. And then Friday, we really hit it pretty hard, nothing too aggressive. We're not trying to, make our stroke stronger as such. We're trying to just load good technique with a little bit of tension so we get that endurance, so we can repeat. If you watch a great swimmer, and I do mention Katie Ledecky often, but if you watch, for instance, her 800 in Rio, it's widely available on YouTube, you'll see her taking 39 strokes per 50 meters, pretty much from length 2, length 1 we exclude because of the dive, from length 2, 3, 4, all the way through for the 800 meters. When us mere mortals swim, often we get tired, we lose the length of the stroke, we speed things up, we shorten the stroke to get more air in as we turn, and it gets shorter and shorter, and it's not ideal. Usually it just ends in the stroke getting shorter, slower, we get more fatigued. If you can keep your technique, you'll really be doing well. Here we go. Next position, please. Next position. Okay, so we're in the shape of a T now. And again, we're just squeezing the shoulder blades together. Okay, add your dumbbells or add your band just to put a little bit of tension through here. Okay, try not to bring too much momentum in. Okay, it's just a squeezing of the shoulder blades. We're just squeezing those muscles and pulling the arms backwards. Again, another one you could do lying face down, perhaps not tonight. Obviously, we're looking for some pretty fast transitions to get the most of this, but this is a great prehab exercise. You'll see it come up in physio handouts all the time. And we're squeezing the shoulder blades. Lying face down, get your dumbbells. You've got gravity making it a little bit harder. 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Back on the cords, please. Into our full stroke front crawl. So there's 8 minutes. We're halfway through the first round. It's going nice. Well done, everyone. Well done. So I'm going to add in some breathing. I'm going to try to keep the hands open now. It's a little bit tricky because these do roll within, they do sort of roll around. But if you've got your paddles, you're not too worried. But just think fingertips to elbow, fingertips to elbow. And as always, I'm going to mix this up with 1 to the right, 2 to the right, 3 to the right. And then I'll take my little bilateral switch across to the other side. There's 1 to the left, 2 to the left, 3 to the left. And then I'm going to set myself up across to the other side. There's 1 to the right, 2 to the right, 3 to the right. And you might think, oh, he's breathing quite early. But actually, I want the mouth to be sort of coming in and getting the air as that hand is pushing through to the back, so that the head is then moving back to neutral as I recover through. If we leave that too late and I turn into the breath here, then things get blocked and I build momentum and I swing across, and things often go horribly wrong. So as the hand travels under the eyes, I'm actually turning into the breath. Try that, think it through, or think about what you might be doing in the water. See if we can work on that, see if you think it might help. The breathing almost should be an independent movement. It does not want to be part of that arm recovery and building and sweeping across. We often see that in our filming. And the minute you sweep that across the center line, you've exposed all this surface area. It's another braking surface, and you've then got to straighten that up before you then send the water backwards. Or you just pull from over here, and then the hips get involved and react. So you want to pull from out front, send it back towards the hips, down towards the feet, but don't get lazy and finish at the hips. Remember, the hips are rotating. You can keep the hands central for a lot longer. The hip will roll out of the way. Don't just get to here and think, oh, that's it, or I've got to go around. The hips are rolling out of the way. Full body rotation is what we're looking for. Last 25 seconds of this block. And then we've got our old favorite. You can do this with the cords or with your dumbbells or beans. Who remembers Karate Kid? Wax on, wax off. The important thing is to try to keep the hands above the elbows. Okay, and what I mean by that is, let's just finish through 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. So bring the elbows up, shoulders and elbows all at 90. Okay, so 90 here, 90 here. Okay. Keep the hands above the elbows. You don't want the bands pulling you forwards. Nice big circles outwards. Okay, let me give you a little bit of angle here so you can see where we're going. Okay, squeezing the shoulder blades. Imagine you're in between 2 thin planes of glass. So we're not falling forwards. We're not arching over backwards. Just keep the hands above the elbows. We go halfway with them heading out, and then we'll reverse and turn them both inwards. Okay, good stuff. Doesn't have to be a heavy weight. In fact, it's preferable to do more of this with a light weight. Feel the slow burn building up, building the strength. This will help protect the shoulders against overuse injuries. In 3, 2, 1, good job, good job. Let's go back to the front crawl, back on the cords. 3 minutes, please, 3 minutes. That is 12 minutes down. And if we're a bit over ambitious, by all means, take a step forwards towards the point of where the cords are tethered to make things a little bit lighter, a little bit easier. Or take a step back if you're getting warmed up now and feeling a little bit stronger. It's entirely up to you. Just work on keeping the technique, the rhythm, keeping the hands at 180 to each other. On the stretch cords, it really is the only way. In front crawl, full stroke, we get many options. We can sort of keep the hands opposite. We can nearly catch up. But obviously with the way the tension works, it's better just to keep them at 180. There we go. Elbow pops out wide, expose the surface area of the forearm, push through, pivot, keep the hands driving past the hips. Don't stop at the hips. Head nice and still unless you're turning to breathe. Let's put some breathing back in. Again, I think, if we've gone to the trouble of setting our cords up in a vertical position to get the full effect or being as close as possible to being in the water, we should add some breathing in, shouldn't we? Now, you don't have to mix it up with a breath every 1, 2, 3, every 1, 2, 3. That's pure bilateral in the strict sense, the textbook sense, but we can soften that by allowing more air per length, by switching, having done 2 or 3 strokes to one side with the breathing, and then we switch across to the other side. Last minute, nearly done with round one. Got really nice, this last one is it's almost a stretch as much as it is an exercise, but it will really help target a very key swimming muscle. And it often gets very fatigued. And if it's not looked after, if it's not massaged or stretched out with a foam roller or a tennis ball, I often like to, if you can carry on, guys, if you can put a tennis ball into this sort of little socket here and roll that backwards and forwards, that can give you a nice amount of relief and help work on that, okay? That can be of use, but if this sort of small muscle area, the teres minor, gets damaged, it can really knock your swimming for six. It's a key part of that recovery, and if it's gone, then it causes all sorts of problems. Last 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Okay, just get the hang of this, okay? So with the elbows at 90, okay, imagine you've got a cord. If you can quickly get your cord off the wall, if you have one, we're just slowly pulling that apart, holding it for 3, 2, 1, and then slowly bringing it back together. So there's tension as you pull apart for 3, 2, 1, and then under stress, you're slowly bringing that back together, okay? Just take it out again, hold it for 3, 2, 1, and bring it back together again. Good, good, good. And this one, you might even be feeling it from the work we've already done, okay? So from here, I'm gonna try it in this position. My point of origin is a little bit too high, okay? You want the tension horizontal coming apart. Okay, I'll set that up for next time. And slowly apart. 3, 2, 1, bring it back together, relax, shake the arms out. Good, everyone, good. So first round done, have a drink, okay? Throw in a little bit of rotation work, especially for those in that horizontal position where the rotation is limited. Just roll the shoulders backwards and forwards, get yourself a drink, have a little breather, and we'll get going with round 2. So hopefully the movements are familiar now. I'm going to pull this down quickly so it's ready for that last round. Okay. And I'm going to use my dumbbells for the other exercises. Okay. So whether it's a single or doubled up, from here, keep that horizontal. And that's the movement, and that's lovely, okay? So that's one to keep in mind. Good work, everyone. Okay, are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Here we go, back on the long cords, please, back on the long cords. Full stroke front crawl, we've got our 3 minutes. Then we're gonna hit the Ys, back to the 3 minutes, then the Ts, 3 minutes, then it's wax on, wax off. Okay, and I'm going to use my dumbbells for those first 3 so that I can just smoothly roll into that final, the pull apart stretch with some tension and just really get the benefit of that. Good, everyone, good. Hope you've been having a good day, whether you've been biking or running, looking after little ones, homeschooling. We've just been for a walk in the park, which was very pleasant. The weather's picked up a little bit. Our 8-month-old, he was 8 months this week, that Layden's been doing good. He's been allowing us to sleep a little bit more, so I'm feeling a little bit more energized for my training. I got some running done this morning, which was always a benefit. My running is very sporadic. It was always the Achilles heel, literally, with my triathlon career. I enjoyed the biking, and then obviously 2008 Beijing, coinciding with us winning medals with the Great North Swim. Suddenly, that was the year I did my last Ironman, and didn't really go back to it after that because there was so much open water available, so many great events I wanted to do that didn't really feel the need. And we were getting busier with the business. It was harder to justify all that amount of time on the bike and the run. So if you are a triathlete, the principles remain. We want to expend as little energy as possible conserve, execute really good full stroke front crawl. The only difference really is you're not worrying about that fast finish that often happens with a tactical long distance pure open water event. Okay, and that's why you should be working on your leg kick. Have a look at the Pilates swimmer movement that will really get your leg kick firing, and then that will give you the gears to increase your pace towards the end of a long swim if you're chasing medals or just trying to be competitive. Okay, triathlon a little bit different. Obviously you are being economical, distributing your energy reserves over that swim, bike and run, but the better your technique, the less wastage. The principles are very, very familiar. Okay, with 20 seconds to go, 20 seconds to go. Look for your cords or look for your dumbbells. We're going to go with the Y position. It's always a minute with the drills, just a minute. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Okay, pick up the cords, pick up the dumbbells, whatever you've got. It's that Y position. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, nice and slow. Try not to build up any momentum. We're not sort of rocking and swinging backs and forwards. Okay, squeeze the shoulder blades together, take them forwards. Squeeze them together, take them forwards. Good work. There is a Y, there's an I position initially, just with both arms up in front. Okay, that also, I don't feel I get quite as much from that one, but it's in the dryland booklet. You might want to add all 3 movements in. So start with the I, you build towards the Y, and then obviously we're going to move to our T next. I'm talking of Aiden, there he is. Okay, in 10 seconds, 10 seconds. We're on the Y, we're just finishing up. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Try not to let any momentum build through the body. Nice and slow. 3, 2, 1. Good, good. Back on the cords, everyone, back on the cords. Okay, how are we feeling? Do we need to take a step back? Are we feeling strong? Can we put a little bit more tension through these? Do we need to take a step forwards because we feel the stroke is starting to shorten a little bit? We're leading with the elbow perhaps. We're not popping that out and using the lat muscles. Okay, just keep the technique over the strength and the desire to just, you know, pull walls down or banisters, whatever it might be. Good work, everyone. Good. So let's go back to adding some breathing. There's 3 to the right, and I'm going to switch across, 3 to the left. Okay, switch across, 3 to the right, and I'm trying to get that time so I'm turning as the hand's traveling under, and then that gives me an awful lot of time on my recovery. And 3 to the left. We're over a minute, we're over a minute, 2 minutes to go, 2 minutes to go. Don't let the triceps shorten. Try to fight that little bit of fatigue in the back of the stroke that's invariably happening now. It's going to be doing wonders for your endurance. You'll be hitting the water in a few weeks, months, who knows, and not be feeling quite so out of sorts having done these sessions. I'm actually thinking of continuing these as a dryland specific additional exercise. Appreciate, you know, we do ask for 3-4 swims a week, but it's not practical with the bike and the run, families and the work. But actually, I think if you could let me know whether this would be useful, so you could maybe hit the pool twice and then supplement with this as a 3rd or a 4th, it might be quite nice to keep it going. And, you know, I can invest in the next Zoom product, make it a little bit more professional, and maybe even do some with the swim bench. And for those that have got those, I mean, I'm hoping everything, because it's time-based and nothing too extravagant or too clever, you can be doing these on the swim bench. It is just basic front crawl principles interrupted by some drills or some prehab exercises, or as on Friday, it is pretty much all full stroke front crawl, maybe a little bit of backstroke to help reverse the movements. Okay, last 20 seconds, last 20 seconds. Keep pushing through, we're nearly there. So we've got the T next, we've got the T, don't forget. So imagine that crucifix position, arms parallel to the floor. 3, 2, 1, fantastic. Okay, dumbbells or cords, your choice. Okay, here's that T position. Okay, squeeze the shoulder blades together. I'm gonna just bring it backwards now. Nice and slow. Try to avoid any momentum building up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Making the shape of a T. Nice and slow. Just fight that fatigue. Don't let them drop. Try to keep them up level. Every few seconds, maybe just double check your position. If you're in front of a mirror, fantastic. You'll be able to see exactly what's happening. Last 20 seconds, please, swimmers. 20 seconds to go. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Okay, back on the cords, back on the cords. Halfway through round 2, we're nearly there, we're nearly there. How are the arms feeling? Do you need to come forwards? Do you need to move up a step? Can you go back a step? Drop down a stair of level just to get the length in, but don't cut it short. Good work. Remember to keep the head still. The head still is stopping me from over-rotating, okay? If the head's bumping around and it's sort of part of the rotation, it's very hard to stay stable. You won't have a strong foundation. The hips will be wriggling. The arms will be getting thrown around and over the center. You'll be exposing surface area. So keep the head still unless you are breathing. And keep the head, once you are breathing, try to make it a small, economical movement. Try not to lift too high. The textbooks will tell you to keep the lower goggle submerged. It's not always feasible in open water. You'll need to make some adjustments, but you do want that head to get a quick breath and be back into its neutral position as quickly as possible. Okay, the more it stays up here, waiting, the chances are you're going to need a little bit of leverage to keep that propped up, and you will have strained the shoulder, pushed down, and that was a wasted stroke that could have taken you forwards with a nice catch that actually just stabilized and helped balance your breathing. Okay. Halfway through this block, remember it's wax on, wax off coming. I'm going to use the dumbbells this time, use the cords for a little bit more tension, put the shoulder blades under a slightly different load from a different angle. Try both. It's very effective for the shoulders. 1 minute to go. What you need to think about is to give the shoulders rewards us with this amazing range of movement. Gives us, all the angles you want really. But there's a price. They are controlled by a lot of small muscle groups, comparatively small muscle groups, and you need to look after them. The minute you suddenly up your training, add in 4,000 meters on top of existing amounts of swimming, that's a lot of repetitions. You need to look after them. Last 25 seconds. These prehab exercises will go some way. If you get in touch, I can actually send you a more complete PDF that Dan put together from his physio practice that will show you how to look after them even more. And he's doing consultations during the moment. So video consultations, you can get online with him, show him your technique, and he can actually make some diagnosis. So that's how cool would that be? 3, 2, 1, lovely, lovely stuff. Okay, get your dumbbells or the cords, however you're doing these. Remember, it's this rotation out, keeping the hands over the elbows. I'm stuck between 2 panes of glass, which should remind me not to drop forwards or arch too far backwards. 30 seconds out. Nice big circles, nice and slow. The dumbbells don't need to be heavy. I'm sure your shoulders are burning at the moment. And let's reverse for the last part. Reverse the movement. Good work, everyone, good work. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tremendous. Okay, last time through, back on the cords, If you can take a step back, fantastic. Don't worry if the technique is starting to shorten. Just finish as best you can with the best technique you possibly can. Just run through that little diagnostic, keeping the stroke narrow, keeping the water going backwards, not down to the bottom of the pool with a straight arm push. Remember to pivot and then send it down. If you can stay streamlined with the legs kicking behind the body, most of the water being sent towards the feet, keep your drag down. That wouldn't be a bad way to make some big gains. It's not exact rocket science. I mean, there's a lot of drag and surface area reduction, so I guess there is a little bit. But if you can just stay narrow, propel as much water backwards with you as narrow as possible, you have to move through the water a lot more efficiently, a lot more effectively. And sometimes that's, if I'm in a long distance event, and I just need to a little mantra, a little bit of a talking to, I'll just run through. Can I be narrower? Can I hide more surface area? Can I shut that down? Can more water be sent backwards? Are the legs still behind the body? Are the toes pointed? Am I exposing any unnecessary surface area? If you can just remind yourself of that, run it through, do your best, shut things down. Again, you will stop wasting time, adding drag, adding fatigue, taking more air in to sort of service that drag that's appearing. And often we challenge our swimmers. Breathing pattern work, sort of a long time ago, used to be thought of as a way to recreate altitude training, and obviously we know that's not the case. What I like to do now is restrict air, but just so people get out of the off of the mindset that it's always available, that it's always there, and there's no consequence to it. If I gave you just 4 breaths per 25 meters, and you had to choose when you took them, hopefully that makes the connection that, yeah, the better my technique, the narrower my stroke, the less air I should need. And that's a good way to just remind ourselves about that relationship now and again. Last 10 seconds, everyone, last 10 seconds, and then we're gonna go with that pull apart stretch, work a little bit on rotation, and we are nicely done for the evening. 3, 2, 1, fantastic, well done. Okay, pick up your band if you had it available. So from here, I'm gonna double it up. I'm just pulling out, 3, 2, 1, and slowly bringing it back in under the tension. 3, 2, 1, and slowly take it back out. 3, 2, 1, bring it back in nice and slow. Doesn't have to be really, really strong. It's just that slow movement, keeping the muscles working under tension, nice and slow. Hold it for 3, 2, 1, bring it back for 3, 2, 1, take it back out for 3, 2, 1, bring it back in for 3, 2, 1. Last 10 seconds, let's get a couple more in. 3, 2, 1. And what we're doing here is just working, making that very small, relatively weak muscle round the back a little bit stronger to absorb all of that recovery. And again, you can add to that with a tennis ball, just roll that back and forwards. You'll soon know that where you've got it, because it's very sensitive, very sensitive. Good work, everyone. That's 32 minutes. I would say just rotate the upper body for a minute or two, get the breathing back under control. If you could add in some drawing of the sword, that would be good, just to flush the shoulders through. The arms have been doing a nice bit of work. Let's go 10 on each side. Maybe add your dumbbell just to add a little bit of workload into the arm swinging. And you'll get stronger as you stop that sort of crashing into the back of your head. the shoulders working hard, and to stop that momentum building up. I'm going to move across. Wonderful. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Look forward to catching up with you Friday, if you can join me. If you've been getting the invites, hopefully now it's kind of automatic that the next 4 or 5 weeks will be the same invite. So hopefully you'll get that. If not, just email me or look on Facebook. It's always there. Thanks, everyone. Hope that helped. And I will see you next time. Have a good one. Have a good one. Sorry again about Monday, but if you need the session or if you want to look at it on YouTube, it's kind of there, abbreviated. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.